In this video, we're going to build on top of the previous ones and deploy everything on a Kubernetes cluster. I have a local Kubernetes cluster, K3D, and in that cluster, I configured already with a few things that I'm going to show you in a second. But the idea here is, let's see how we can use the operator to provision an OpenTelemetry collector instance for us and to instrument our applications using the Java auto-instrumentation agent. It is going to inject the agent into our deployment. Let's see how it works in practice. So again, we are now on the phase 4 branch, and I removed what we had from the Docker Compose. I tore down the LGTM backend from the machine, and now we only have Kubernetes. And the idea here is I installed K3D, and I just started K3D. And I installed Cert Manager. This is one of the things that the operator needs. The OpenTelemetry operator needs webhooks, or it needs certificates for the webhooks for the Kubernetes API server to access those webhooks. It needs TLS, so we provision the certificates using Cert Manager. And then we installed the operator itself, and then we provision the observability stack. And what do we have there? So again, using the PetClinic, we just added a few Kubernetes manifests in here. The first one is LGTM. So this is a service with a few ports, including the 3000 that we're going to expose later. And then the deployment using the same image that we had locally, right? So that's it. Nothing really fancy there. And then for the collector, what we're going to do here is, for the collector, we're going to use a CR. We're going to create a new OpenTelemetry collector CR, a custom resource. We're going to name it OTel, and it is a deployment. So the operator can provision collectors in different ways of modes of deployment. We're going to cover that in the OpenTelemetry Operator module later on in the course. But for now, it's sufficient to know that the operator can provision a full production quality collector for us. And the only thing we need to do is specify what is the configuration for the collector. This is the same configuration that we had locally. Perhaps the one change is the destination of the data. So now it is, I think it is even the same. LGTM is the host name and 4317 is the destination. And then we have 3 pipelines, one for each signal, and that's it. The other thing we have is the instrumentation. So on the instrumentation.yaml, we have another CR. So the OpenTelemetry operator gives us a few CRDs, a few custom resource definitions, and one of them is for instrumentation. This is how we configure the Java instrumentation. We say, what is the destination of the data? What are the propagators? Let's not worry about propagators now. And then what are the environment variables that we want to disable? Or what are the extra environment variables that we need? We could just actually remove all of that and it should all work. But anyway, so this is very simple, nothing really fancy here either. Just a few options. I don't like the command arguments or the runtime description or the executable path. Like I don't need those in my telemetry. I'm probably not going to use them to debug things in production at 2 a.m. in the morning. It's just noise. I like more signal, less noise. Cool. All right. So this is it. And then we deployed the application. This is the pure files that we had from the PetClinic, except for one line of code. So in the PetClinic, what we've done is we've added an annotation. This is a signal for the OpenTelemetry operator telling it, please add the Java agent to this workload. I'm going to take a moment and make a comment here. You don't have to add this annotation to all of your workloads. In fact, you probably don't have one deployment YAML file for each workload that you have in production. You probably have a Helm chart or a base Helm chart for your Java applications. You can add this annotation there only once, and then it applies to all of your Java workloads. Or if you have a specific namespace where you know that all of the workloads in there are Java, or most of them are Java, what you can do is you can annotate the namespace. So once you annotate the namespace, the OpenTelemetry operator is going to try to inject the agent into all of the deployments, all of the workloads, all of the pods in that specific namespace. So you don't have to do it manually one by one. You can do it wholesale, either at the namespace or, as I've seen practice working the most, is you go to your Helm charts, to the base charts, and in there, you add your annotation. All right, that's all that we need. And so summarizing what we have here, we didn't change our application much. We added one annotation to the workload, and everything else is external to that. Everything else is a one-time setup for the operator, and then we created a collector, and then we created a CR or the instrumentation configuration. The backend that we've added here probably comes from somewhere else, or we had already perhaps in our cluster before. So let me show you what I have in here. So kube control, get pods. So we have the demo DB, is from Spring PetClinic, and then we have the PetClinic itself plus LGTM and the collector. And if we go to our UI, we don't have let's just confirm that we are not exposing anything yet. That's it. So let's do a port forward on the 3000. That's fine. And then another port forward or this one. There you go. For the pet clinic, if we refresh in here, we see the pet clinic. And if we refresh here, we see Grafana. Cool, it is working. And we have here, so 1530, so this is now, if we open it here, we see information there. And the Java auto-instrumentation, it recognized that we are running on Kubernetes. So what it did was in the resource attributes, it added a few Kubernetes information in there as well. What is the container name? What is the deployment name? And so on and so forth. So we have extra information based on where our application is running. And with that, we've finished this module where I show you how you can get from 0 to 1, 0 to 10 perhaps, for existing applications in very practical ways. If your application is Java, all that you need to do is download one jar and then use that jar as a Java agent for your application. And then you already have rich telemetry coming from your application. It might be a lot of telemetry already, so the Java auto-instrumentation agent is very eager to capture a few things or a lot of things. So I try to trim down a little bit so you can get started very easily with OpenTelemetry by making use of the auto-instrumentation libraries and get visibility into an application that you would not get otherwise.